Back with you today following a tough Sixers loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday night, but we have to talk about a lot of things with the basketball team, and we'll have some news and notes a little bit later. All the good stuff right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, live from the Xfinity Lounge along with Derek, Kyle. I'm Devon Bree, the president of basketball operations. Good to see everybody in there early. That's right. Machiavelli saying 76ers, baby. We got to talk about them today. We are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. They have a great profit boost going on that we'll tell you about for the football game this weekend for the playoffs. And I'll tell you about that as we go along here in the show. So we'll get to all of the those things a little bit later. But we do have to start off with something we've talked about quite a bit on this show, and that is taking care of home court, especially when you are a team that is trying to find yourself after last season where the identity got away, injuries obviously got in the way, but figuring out the identity of this basketball team, and one way you can do that is just simply playing good at home, stacking the wins that you can, and maybe that would also translate with you when you hit the road. This year, though, Kyle, 20 games at home, and they are 10-10 through those 20 games, and we've talked about how right now with the record, 39 games in, so a solid record on the road, 500 at home, and during the Joel Embiid era, they've generally played really well at home. It was a home court. It was a real home court advantage when teams had to come here and play the Sixers. This year, not so much with the 10-10, 500 record and a decent amount of lopsided games that they were just not in.
Yeah, and I think the most infuriating part for me, other than the losses, is that digging into it, looking at the numbers, thinking about it, I kind of come away just shrugging my shoulders. Like there are not any dramatic trends that suggest like, oh, they are turning the ball over 10 more times, or they're really getting killed on the offensive glass. And like, yes, there are outlier nights. Like last night, the start of that game was a disaster on the glass where Cleveland had 8 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. They didn't end up doing a whole lot on the offensive glass a lot of the rest of the game, so it was able to normalize. But I think one of the big things that I have noticed in some of these more recent losses are just super sluggish starts. And I generally have a low tolerance for that. I think that's something that irritates fans that I tend to agree with. Like I'm not always in the same perspective as the people in the chat and the people who follow the team from afar. This is where I'm aligned, right? When you come out slow and sluggish and you're getting pushed around physically in the first quarter, to me, a lot of that is just the mental approach. It's just the getting ready for the game part of things. It's game plan. It's the guys on the floor. It's everything. And so when I'm very encouraged when on the road against Toronto in the second half of that back-to-back, they come out and they score 45 points, ultra professional effort, firing on all cylinders. Obviously, you can't shoot the lights out every night, but the start of the game informs the rest of the game. Everybody who watches basketball regularly understands basketball is a rhythm sport. And so if you let guys, even bad players, even mediocre players, get into a groove early in the game and get some confidence rolling, that's how you end up in a game against the Hospital Nuggets that they lost in overtime. That's how guys like Pickett are able to have big games instead of just, hey, he had a nice moment here or there, hit a couple shots. No, that's a 20-plus point game where he's going off for a big stretch of that game. That's how you let guys who are two-way players, fringe roster guys, or even starters and top-of-the-rotation type players who are having poor starts to the year, having poor first half of the season, if they see the ball go in once or twice, all of a sudden, DeAndre Hunter, we talked about him having a down season for the Cavs, I think, recently. He came out last night and he was confidently shooting the ball because the Sixers let him get one early. And then it's just, hey, I got to get off the schneid somehow. I build some momentum. And so I think the slow starts to games have been a theme in a lot of these, right? Like Orlando, certainly, because that's another game they just got absolutely punched in the mouth and never came back. So there are not big existential problems happening that I can see that are specifically at home. We see a lot of bigger picture trends where they need to be a better rebounding team. Joel, for example, has got to take care of the ball better than he did in the first quarter against Cleveland last night. But I think if I was trying to find a theme for a bunch of the home losses, I think that's it. It's the slower starts. And even the NBA Cup game against Boston's another one. They came back and they had a chance to win that game. I know this game feels like it was 1,000 years ago now. They had a chance to win that game, but what were they down, like 25 points in the first quarter or the first half, and it looked like the game was over. Credit to them for coming back. But you can't let NBA teams with the amount of talent that is on every single roster, 1 through 10 now, get into a rhythm early and feel themselves. And certainly that's what happened with Cleveland last night. That's a sputtering team that you let gain some confidence, and then they just took it and ran with it.
Good.
It's one of the things that we talked about quite a bit, just because, again, the Embiid era where they have played really well at home. It's been something that they've done. But looking at it, and of course the guys will get into some more numbers, but as Kyle pointed out, just some of these games that have gotten away from them. I mean, they won the first few, Charlotte, Orlando, they beat them, lost by 1 to Boston early, and then they beat Toronto, lost to the Nuggets, another close game to Boston. So they were in a lot of these, but then some of the blowouts have started to happen, which doesn't seem to be them. And I just expected them to be a way better basketball team at home, where the fan base is behind them. They've done enough early on in the season to gain the trust from the fan base, where they had to re-earn it from last year. And they did it early with that start, where they got off to that 4-0 start, and even losing that first game in Chicago. You have enough trust again and the faith from the fan base where they're behind you. So the early starts where we've seen that, where they've had to climb back into these games so often. Yes, players have missed time. Embiid, George missing some time. Edgecombe, Maxey missing some games as well. But even now, where they've really started to put things together and we're starting to see a version of the Sixers team that we like, that Washington game, that Denver game is one that, as Kyle talked about, you let a team hang around long enough and you give them confidence, and now you're in for a fight, and a fight that you probably should not be on that particular night. So I hope they can clean some of this up. They have another opportunity here tomorrow when they take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Cleveland jumped on them early, up by 13 after 1, got those 8 offensive rebounds, those extra possessions. They forced the Sixers to turn the basketball over, and you could just see it right away that this was going to be a long night. A quick game, but a long night as far as the watching of it goes, because of how frustrating it was at home and allowing a team to get comfortable. And as we discussed, after that final game against Toronto, 10 games left in the month of January, 9 of which are at home. You have to pick up some of these wins. And that will also tell you the fear that used to be there in the past during the regular season, that prepped for the playoffs of, you guys coming here in the playoffs, it's going to be difficult. All right? It's not just us on the floor. It's not just the 12 that we play. It's the people in the stands that are going to be on top of you, and they're not going to let up all game long, and you're going to have to experience that and have to deal with it. And I would think they're able to get and bust through that and be fine, but 20 games in with 21 more to go, and a good portion of them this month, they're going to have to prove it once again that they are a home team and make it difficult for any of these teams that we look at coming into town during this month, where it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. First of all, I think going back to what Kyle said about sort of like the slow starts and the lack of really energy and just feeling like they are fully engaged. At home, the Sixers allow an opponent free throw rate that ranks 25th in the league. On the road, that is 11th best. So they go from 11th to 25th road versus home. And part of that is you can just see it, like the defense is not as locked in. The perimeter defense, especially, they're giving up a lot of dribble penetration, especially last night. They were in rotations pretty much all night. And for a team like Cleveland who likes to hunt threes, that can be a death sentence. And then the other one is opponent free throw rate. They have the 9th highest, or opponent turnover rate. They have the 9th highest opponent turnover rate on the road. That drops to 20th at home. So they are forcing fewer turnovers. They're giving up more free throws. They're not getting out on the break because of that. And I think you can see that, like we can talk about statistics. I think you can see that in their energy levels, in their, just connectedness, in their fight, especially on games like last night. I feel like a lot of the really frustrating games have come when they come back from a road trip. And this wasn't exactly a long road trip, just a 3-gamer, but there's a little bit of a psychological lull that happens when you come back home. A lot of times that first game back on a homestand, you have sort of like these energy problems. Yeah. And I think we've seen that certainly a couple times so far this year and during the more frustrating of the losses.
Definitely the Denver one. Mm-hmm. Coming back from that long road trip, win 3 in a row. Same thing
probably
last
just
night.
Took them for granted too a little bit.
Yeah, but the last night one, for me, it was, they were in Toronto and they were in Orlando, but it wasn't a long trip.
No, it wasn't a long trip.
And they were only in 2 cities. And why are you coming back and you're so flat to start this one off? That was what was concerning for me last night, because it wasn't a 5 or 6 game trip and having to get on the plane so much from
you barely
city
traveled.
to city.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And that's why it was puzzling to me. And look, like Kyle pointed out yesterday, and when he sent out his story last night, credit to Cleveland for jumping on the Sixers the way that they did. But you have to point the finger at the Sixers too, and allowing that to happen at home. And it had a lot of emotion in that game where they blew out the Toronto Raptors, sure. But you know how important this one was with Cleveland. That cannot be, again, understated of just how they could not get it going early and they let it get away from them.
Bree just brought up a comment from Martian. It was just a benign comment, like, remember when the Sixers were elite at home? Do you remember it was the shortened year because of COVID? They went a full calendar year without losing a regular season game at home. They lost, I think, like a preseason game, maybe even a postseason game, but they didn't lose a regular season game at home for a full calendar year. It was just one of the most wild things that.
But didn't they have like a 32-9 home record or something? One of those years.
Yeah.
The year they had the great home record was with Al Horford and Josh Richardson, which was a total disaster season on every other front. So I have blocked most of those games out of my mind because I hated watching that team so much.
It was a tough watch.
But in hindsight, I enjoyed watching that more than last year's team and some of the other nonsense teams. So I don't know.
I think the only other thing I'd say is, like, there's probably a little bit of shooting variance involved too. Like right now, we can talk about the Sixers road record and be all happy about it. And certainly Nick was hoping to do that last night to deflect a little bit. Opponents only shoot 31.9% against the Sixers on the road. That's the best road 3-point defense in the league. That's probably a little bit of smoke and mirrors. They're probably getting a little bit lucky on some of these road games. By contrast, they shoot almost 5% better when on the Sixers home floor, which is right about mid-pack. That'll probably even out a little bit. Similarly, Sixers shoot 34% at home from 3, 37% on the road. Like, a lot of this is, not a lot of it, but certainly some of it is shooting variance. I think you can probably look at the previous stats I cited with opponent free throw rate and the perimeter defense, and it's probably a little bit easier of looks they're getting, but I think a lot of it is it's early season. Not really, it's mid-season. But you're getting a little bit of shooting variance involved in these numbers too.
The free throw stuff is interesting though, because while they're getting to the line more, their opponents are shooting worse on the Sixers home floor on free throws by like 5%. So the difference there is probably negligible, and a lot of the differences here are negligible, which is why I just am like, I don't know. You have to chalk it up to it's a long season. I just think that I'm less concerned about, like, I don't think they're going to be as good as they've been on the road for the rest of the year. I think that'll probably even out to closer to 500, and that's fine. But because I'm expecting that to happen, and that's just like, unless you are a great team, and I would not call the Sixers a great team in their current setup here, you got to win at home. You have to take care of business at home. And so that requires beating the good teams. It requires beating the beat up teams. It requires beating the teams that are in the kind of similar category that you're at. Like, if you just look at the raw numbers, look at that. It's only a difference of about 2 points a game. And it's only a difference of about 2% from 3. Like, the margins there are not that large. Some of what that speaks to is a topic we've gotten to on this show, which is they've played a lot of crunch time games this year. And when you win crunch time games, clutch games, it can be easy to default to, well, boy, they're just learning how to win. And this is a team that has the right stuff, and like VJ shooting 1,000,000,000% on threes in the final 5 minutes in close games is great, right? It allows us to make comparisons to Jimmy Butler and say things like, "Oh my God, this kid has no fear of the moment." And something that I've cautioned people about with that is that in the macro, in the big picture, most people would say being in crunch time games all the time, period, is not a good thing. And eventually, even if you are for a period winning those games regularly, the tide's going to turn against you at some point. You're going to start losing close games because it just comes down to a shot making contest in a lot of instances. And it turns out there are a lot of great shot makers in the NBA. So if you play with fire, so to speak, I think that's kind of what's happening here, right? Like the Denver game, they're a better team than certainly that version of the Nuggets, but they hung around for so long that it becomes a possession game at the end of the fourth and overtime. And all of a sudden you lose that game. The Atlanta game that went to double overtime, there's a few factors there where, yes, they hung around. And that Atlanta team is much better than the version of the Nuggets they lost to. But Tyrese had a chance to win the game at the free throw line. He misses important free throw. And then in double overtime, you don't make the plays down the stretch. And that's another loss on the schedule. So I think the crunch time stuff and their inability to pull away from teams to a significant degree is also a big factor in why this is disappointing from a home record perspective.
Keep it around 6, push it to 8, push it to 10, that kind of thing. And of course, it's a fun thing that we talk about making fun of when I'm saying it. But when we look at the game and you're saying, give yourself a little bit of a cushion here, make that run, get away from this team where you punch them in the gut and maybe they don't have a response. And that's a lot of what we haven't seen. As good as they have been with their 22-17 record, there are still some things. Like Kyle said, they're not a great basketball team. There's still a lot to figure out. They're in that mix of those other teams for a reason because they're good, but they could be better. And while I sit there and say, this is exactly where they are supposed to be because of all those games they had to come back in the beginning of the season and climb back into those and win those crunch time games, well, there's still some answers that need to be figured out and sorted out with this basketball team. And some of this, I even look at it sometimes where you hear a lot of players say it's much easier to play on the road because it's just you or just us, and that's the focus. Just us. We don't have to worry about anything else. Scattered tickets here for friends and family that might be in that particular city. But other than that, we have a job to do. Let's go get to it. And I'm honestly a little bit stunned that it has turned out into a 500 home record because I expected this team to be a little bit better than that because of the home court advantage that I thought the Sixers had in front of this home crowd. And it's just not. Now, they have plenty of time, again, 21 games that they have left where that can be turned around, where they can go on a big run and make it very difficult for any teams to come in here. But as we look ahead and we look at this team as a possible playoff team, and if you stay in that top 4, you want to be hosting that first-round matchup. You want to make sure that while you're hosting that first-round matchup, that team knows that it's not going to be an easy night, not just with you on the floor, but the fans in the stands as well. So that's how I look at it.
Kyle, did you catch Devon's little humble brag there about knowing the difficulty of having to get family tickets for NBA games?
That was not a humble brag.
That was just a brag from Devon.
Okay.
It's so much stress.
Just you got to really, oh my God, I can't believe I have to get tickets for my loved ones who want to come see me make millions of dollars playing that. No, I understand what you're saying. It comes with a lot of other things that when you're on the road, it's just you and the guys that you're traveling with and whatever Instagram model you paid to sit courtside at the game and,
All right, we got a lot more to talk about with their home record. We also have the Sixers did have practice today. Asked Rich last night, do you think they'll have practice after a loss like this? Yes, the answer is yes. They had a practice. The guys were there, so we'll get some updates on what took place today. We get an update on Dominick Barlow as well as the Sixers get ready for the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday night, game 2 of their 2-game mini series at home. And it was nice to hear Legs on the call last night. Nice to hear Tim Legman on the call. It's pretty good.
I don't think it helped with his
opinion of
impression
Joel.
of Joel Embiid from this season, though. So
He
we'll
saw-
see. We'll check in with him again soon and see how he's feeling.
Saw it up close and personal with
Yeah.
this one. All right, we come back. We'll talk more about the home record. Why is it so bad, everybody? We're discussing right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by Bet365. All right, I was heading into work this morning because we had an early morning meeting, and I said, you know what? I forgot to grab something out of the house. No worries. Right to Wawa I go. It's right near my home, and it's an institution here in Philadelphia. So if you ever want to go from 5 to 11 a.m., you make sure you hit up Wawa for the great offer, the $5 deal where you can get any Sizzly, any size hot or iced coffee, and a hash brown, all for $5 at Wawa. So for me, I was starving. You know what I needed? I needed my Sizzly, sausage and cheese on a biscuit. Good to go. I'm good there. French vanilla coffee and the hash brown. Now I'm ready to go, sit in this meeting and feel pretty good. I'm ready to discuss some things, all because I was able to go to the great place that is Wawa. Once again, available only in the morning from 5 to 11 a.m. If your morning calls for something sweet, then try the new caramel and chocolate craze flavors as well. No need to overthink breakfast. Just grab, go, and get on with your day. Gotta have a Wawa.
Next up, we want to tell you about TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And look, especially at this time of year after the holidays, we're all looking to find a way to take the money that we have already made and stretch it just a little bit further. And if you're looking for a way to grow your savings, for a limited time, TrueMark Financial is offering a 5-month certificate at a 4.1% annual percentage yield. With a minimum deposit of just $500, it's an easy way to put your money to work. Whether you're saving for an upcoming expense, strengthening your emergency fund, or simply putting extra cash to work, this certificate is a great option. Open your 5-month certificate today at TrueMark.com or by visiting any of their 24 convenient branch locations. Annual percentage yield is accurate as of January 9th, 2026, and subject to change. Certificate requires a minimum deposit of $500. Federally insured by the NCUA. Visit TrueMark.com for full details.
All right, welcome back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Oh, by the way, let me tell you with the Bet365 great thing that they have going on right now at Bet365, our presenting sponsor. Here's the pretty cool deal that they have going on for the playoffs this weekend. Sorry, everybody, we're talking about the offensive coordinator and the replacement there. We're not talking about another game against the Chicago Bears in round number 2. But Bet365 has this pretty cool thing. With playoff football back in action, they have a super boost on for the Denver Buffalo game. They have a super boost on 1 or more passing yards that has been boosted to plus 100. So what was originally, I believe it was like minus 10,000 or minus 100,000. It's now at plus 100. That's easy money, obviously.
Well,
There's
it's a
going to
good
be
thing they
1
don't
yard
have KP
passing.
as their offensive coordinator because
He can
I know
still
if
get
it's
you 1
easy
yard
money.
passing. But in that game, 1 yard passing, you cannot beat that. So if you are not already signed up and you're like, you know what? I get the $200 in bonus bets as it is. After I do that, let me go in on the Sunday game for Buffalo and Denver and place a wager for the plus 100 of 1 or more passing yards in the game that Josh Allen and Bo Nix will be playing in, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be good. Now, make sure you read all the details of the whole thing because there's a maximum bet that you can place. You can't just go in there.
I was about to put my whole house
There you
on
go.
this, Devon.
Yeah, you can't go in there and drop 100,000 to get 200,000, but you can place a wager where it will be pretty beneficial for you. And stack some coin there at Bet365, whatever the moment's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's get to the home schedule that we've been talking about. I've been telling the guys, especially when I ask them and they're like, I don't know. Kyle's like, I don't know what the record's going to be over the next 10 games because I don't even know who they're playing. Let's put the schedule up so we can look at what the home court advantage should look like. Upcoming Friday, they do have the Cleveland
2 days
Cavaliers.
off in a row. Oh, my God.
Revenge against the Cavs, and then we get a weekend off. Hopefully it's with a W so everybody can feel good going into the weekend. Monday, Pacers. Tuesday, Suns.
Must win
Surprising
against the Pacers.
Suns, by the way. Surprising Suns,
Very
pretty darn
surprising.
good. for the season thus far under Coach Ott. And then you have Wednesday off Thursday against the Houston Rockets. So when you look at them, you just said, Kyle, when you look at the Indiana Pacers game, that's one. Look, they're playing much better, but you should beat that basketball team.
Yeah, and look, that's a tough 3 out of 4. And the Pacers game being on the front half of back-to-back, I'm interested how they play that one because I think the typical logic that they go with when it's not the same team as it was in Toronto is play all your guys in the game where you're more likely to win and then sit and see whoever's left. It'll be Maxey, VJ, the young guys in the second game against Phoenix. And, you take your chances, you hope to win. I wonder if they'll go with that approach or if they'd be more likely to say, hey, I think we can beat Indiana with Maxey and the young guys, and then we bring back Joel and Paul.
Fair.
So the logic behind that, I'm curious to see how they line that up. Houston is tough. Obviously, Şengün has been out, and so they're not as dangerous without him in the team. They've been struggling. They are right on the fringe there of the play-in at the moment in a crowded Western Conference, but dangerous team. Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant. So and look, before all of that, you got to take care of business against Cleveland tomorrow because it's not like this was the only game that they lost to Cleveland already this year. And neither game was all that competitive. Obviously, in the first game, there were notable absences, and so you discount that one a little bit. But you have to go out there and prove that you can beat this Cavs team. They have not been a favorable matchup so far this year. Talked about it the other day, that there's no real clear runaway team in the East, and the playoffs might end up coming down to who matches up well with who, and how does the bracket play out. So I think for their own mental, as Marshawn Lynch would say, for their mentals, you got to get a win under your belts against Cleveland, set aside everything else, just to put some confidence for the next time you might play these guys down the road.
Totally agree. Right now, Cleveland is a half a game back of the Sixers after last night's loss. So you want to give yourself a little bit of cushion there. If Cleveland wins tomorrow night, they have a 3-0 series lead, and all the Sixers can do in March is just for their own mentals in March, just get a win. So if you do face them in the playoffs, you can say, all right, well, we got them the last time and all, but it'd be nice if you do exactly what you did against the Toronto Raptors. Take 2 of these games and make it an even split there and let the chips fall where they may with the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 going down the line with all of that. Let's get to the next part of the home schedule that Bree has for us. That one, not easy. Cleveland, Indiana, Phoenix, and Houston. Following up, the 76ers also have not an easy schedule in general when you look at exactly where we go from here. So after that, the following week, Saturday, that's the Saturday afternoon game. That's the New York Knicks. At home, 3:30, Saturday afternoon.
Easy one.
Sixers already beat them 2-0.
Matchup
beat them
advantage.
2-0. The last 2
Easy
Knick
W.
games will be here in Philadelphia, and they are going to be the last one is right before the game before the All-Star break on February 11th. So that's the Knicks on Saturday. I heard your jokes. Monday, after that one, that's the only road game where they go to Charlotte. And that's the front end of a back-to-back with Milwaukee then on Tuesday here. So Knicks, Milwaukee, Sacramento, and New Orleans. So a different
Got to get in my
schedule.
Eugene Ross mode over here. Sounds like 7-0 to me.
What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think like these next 2 games, I agree, you got to get 1 out of 2 against the Cavs, and then you got to get the Pacers. Because after that, it gets like the next 3 games are really, really tough. So get those first 2, then you look at the rest of the week. All right, if we can pick off 1 of the 2 against Houston or Phoenix, then we're feeling good about ourselves. Because really, if you can just get through that stretch where, go into next weekend against the Knicks, if you can just get like 3 wins out of those 5 games, you're pretty well set, because it does ease up a little bit after that. When you start talking about Charlotte, when you start talking about Sacramento and New Orleans, those are much more winnable games. Even, the Bucks, we talked about them the other day. They can certainly be had, especially if Giannis isn't has a down night. Yeah, you really these next two are huge. It's a chance to pocket a couple of wins because it does get really, really tough. Like the rest of the week through the weekend is tough.
And then immediately after that, you go on a 5-game West Coast trip.
Yeah.
Handle your business.
Yep.
At home.
Now you're really stretching it out. I thought we were just focusing on the next week, let alone Devon's getting into like February, and we're going to be at the end of this. This is quite a stretch for our friends at Rothman here, Devon.
Yeah, it is. So just looking at that with the home schedule, handle your business, and that's why we're talking about it today. A little shocking thing that's been going on where they simply have not protected their home floor like we're accustomed to seeing with the Sixers basketball team. A really good chance in doing so here with this home schedule that they have upcoming. So this is the stretch that we have presented by Rothman Orthopedics, and the stretch at home, 9 of 10, including last night's game, started off with a loss, but the stretch presented by Rothman Orthopedics is a big one for the Sixers over the rest of this week with the 4 that we just talked about going into next Thursday with the Houston Rockets being the last one, then Saturday with the Knicks, and ongoing from there with the remainder of the schedule where they have to once again take advantage of a prime opportunity that's right in front of them, in front of their home crowd. The stretch presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit RothmanOrtho.com, RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to learn more at Rothman Orthopedics. You know I got you. Also, with that, let's talk about Dominick Barlow with the stretch here.
Yeah.
Rothman Orthopedics, because you were at practice today. What's
yes,
the update?
indeed. Well, I do think we'll have some video and audio from Nick Nurse here, the Breel queue up, but we saw Barlow out on the floor today, and we asked Nick Nurse about his status coming off of last night. I believe you guys played a clip of me talking last night saying that the x-rays were negative. And so we got a further update from Nick Nurse at practice today. And the gist of it is, you guys will hear for yourselves, they're not even doing an MRI today because of how Barlow reported. So, Bree, if you can just play the clip for us real quick. And then
I think they decided against the imaging this morning because he felt a little bit better. Doesn't rule it out completely yet that he's going to need some, but he was out there moving around. Sounded like he was going to be okay.
So had Barlow been actually injured, that would have created maybe some intrigue, but also some potential challenges for them. He has been a regular starter, and even with Oubre back and playing a decent amount of minutes at this point, Barlow has remained the unchallenged starter. Now, I do think that in certain matchups and frankly just on run of form, he's still interested in getting Oubre into the starting lineup and seeing what that looks like with George, Oubre, Edgecombe, Maxey, and Embiid, and rolling with a starting 5 like that. We'll have to wait and see if Dom is available to play Friday night. There has been no confirmation one way or the other, and we'll get some more information at the 5:30 injury report today when the Sixers submit that. But I think just the fact that it appears he avoided any kind of major injury, and this is more of a temporary thing, as you go into a stretch where you got to stack up some home wins before you end up going on the road, I think it's great news that Barlow seems to have avoided anything major.
I didn't know. At first, we didn't know what it was because from the replay, it looked like his leg got caught underneath him, and you weren't sure if that was going to be the case. You saw the fall, but you could also see that where the leg got caught underneath his body and just wasn't sure. Then with him being so thin and the way that he fell, I'm like, ooh, that one doesn't look too good. He might be out for a couple of games with that contusion. So that's great news that Derek Key is, at least for right now, avoiding any extra imaging, and he's looking like he's going to be okay. So they might have dodged one right there.
No, they really did. When he fell, you didn't know exactly how serious that could be. And lower backs can be a little bit tricky. You would expect them to be a little bit cautious if there's any reason for them to be cautious. For them not even to bother doing imaging, it certainly seems like they are pretty comfortable with where he's at. What that means for tomorrow, we will find out. I agree with Kyle. I'm interested to see if he doesn't play, if Nick goes right back to Kelly, and whether or not Kelly would then remain in that starting lineup. but we will find that out as well. They still need as many switchable defenders, as many people who contribute on the glass, as many people who, quite frankly, just hustle. If we saw something last night, it's that every now and then some players will have a day off where they just don't come out of the gate. That's perfect. He tends to give you a jolt and try to get people back into it. They need his energy.
Could they get a hustler who can shoot the ball?
It would be great. It would be truly great.
I would love that. Also, a music lover brought it up in the chat. I think it's an astute observation. I don't know why Barlow feeling better today made them say, well, he just doesn't need to get an MRI. Like,
Yeah.
Does that pass the smell test to me? I don't think so. Like, are you guys getting charged per MRI? Like, is there a quota that you've hit for January? And so you're saying, we got to save those, or we've run out of our MRIs for this period of time. So I don't know. That seems a little silly to me, but hopefully Barlow's fine, because Derek's right. Like, the back specifically is tricky. And so if this had become, and maybe it still will become, an off and on thing, that could really complicate matters for Barlow and the rotation.
Earlier, Barlow gets a cut on his elbow. He's out for a month, but looks like he can't walk after landing on his lower back. And he's fine. No imaging. Weird team.
No need
Weird
for an MRI. That's the stretch with the regular season schedule there at home, and with Dominick Barlow back in the mix. No MRI needed, but if he did, just go to Rothman. Present it right there with our stretch here. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY. When we come back, we'll get some audio from Nick Nurse today from practice, talking about Kyle asking him about Jared McCain. Another tough night for Jared McCain and a short run for the Sixers. We'll hear that and much, much more news and notes as well as we close out the show here shortly. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Thursday following a loss, getting ready for another game against Cleveland right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Philly sports fans, listen up. It's the season of gifting, and if you're looking for something truly unforgettable this year, or if you just forgot to get something nice for somebody for Christmas, because we are in January, I've got the perfect idea. Got to check out the incredible work from Philadelphia sports artist Jordan Spector at SpectorSportsArt.com. I own one of Jordan's pieces myself. You can see a beautiful piece here of Saquon Barkley from the Snow game. That one, these aren't just posters you hang on the wall. They're museum-level artworks of the greatest moments and icons in Philly sports history. Now, Devon Givens holding it up is not coming along with what you're going to get, but the collection comes in prints, canvases, even athlete partner trading cards, including a piece of Brandon Graham's real game-worn jersey and one of those cards from that matchup in New Orleans against the Chiefs. If you got a diehard sports fan in your life or just want to treat yourself, it's the kind of gift they'll talk about forever. SpectorSportsArt.com. That's SpectorSportsArt.com. Grab something epic for the Philly sports fan in your life.
Can I tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free? Thank you. I appreciate it. Evans Pest Control. This isn't some giant national chain. They're a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area, and they've been earning the trust of your neighborhoods for years. Evans Pest Control uses state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatments options, and their techs go through continuous training, so they're equipped to handle anything: rodents, insects, termites, even bed bugs. You don't want any of those things. They offer priority services and consultations, which is huge, of course, when it comes to pests. So if you're like me and you don't want any unwanted guests, any unwanted friends roaming around your house, Evans Pest Control is the place for you. So if you see signs of pests or just want to prevent them before they start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com. Back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Sixers last night, 133-107. They fall to the Cavs. And Jared McCain, he ended up playing last night 10 minutes, scored 6 points in that 10 minutes.
And all 6 of those came in extended garbage time at the end of the game.
Yes, 4 of them were also free throws that he got from the free throw line. So Kyle asked Nick Nurse today about Jared McCain. We've discussed it here on the show, asking about, is it time for him to go back to Delaware, get a little bit of work in there, go cook some of those G Leaguers maybe, regain some confidence. And Kyle asked, Nick Nurse about Jared McCain, where he is right now. Here's the head coach this afternoon on his second-year guard.
There hasn't as of right now, but I think that's always a possible consideration. I mean, as of today, I was pretty focused in on fixing last night and all that stuff and getting all the film prepared. We might have some meetings later on today or tomorrow, but I think it's always a possibility, but we haven't had those discussions yet.
I love the suggestion there, or the passive suggestion, I should say, from Nurse there, that the only time you would have thought of this was after last night's game specifically, as if this hasn't been a thought in anyone's minds up until now. Like, well, there haven't been discussions because I was working on the film from last night. It's like, dude, he hasn't played well for like 2 months. He has not been able to get on the floor, or has barely been on the floor for most of the last month and a half. And like, I get it. He's trying to step around the question a little bit. And frankly, this is a decision that is not just a Nick Nurse thing. This is a organizational thing. This would also, frankly, probably be a Jared representation. Like, sending him down early in the year, coming right off the injury, is one thing. Mm-hmm. Sending him down mid-season in year 2 is an admission of how far behind he is right now. And I'm not sure that all the different parties involved are ready to make that sort of admission and take that step together. So I'm not surprised that they're at least publicly saying it hasn't come up yet. But I think the deeper we get into this year, I don't know how you get around it, because you're talking about a guy that last night, what struck me was he was just the guy to hide Darius Garland on. And the thought of Jared McCain last year being a player that you just stick your worst defender on and say, you get to hide out, would have seemed unfathomable at the time. And Jared's inability to make shots, punish people by attacking off the dribble, in that matchup, leveraging his strength advantage against Garland. Like, Garland is many things, but he is a exploitable defender who is not big, strong, or physically imposing in any way. And the only shot that he got against him was a tough baseline jumper that clangs off the rim. Like, it's just looking real bad for Jared. Then you add on the defensive concerns and struggles. So I don't think it's not a knock against him that he needs to rediscover himself and just get reps against guys who are worse than him. This is an injury and a surgery recovery process that takes time to come back from, and that's fine. But if you're just going to have him playing, 5 to 10 minutes here and there, you're basically wasting the year for him, and that's what you really can't have happen.
Yeah, it's certainly not just because of last game. He's playing 7 minutes per night over the last 4. He played like 4 minutes against Orlando. This has been a thing that has been going on for a very long time. And I don't think he's getting much by coming in for a 5-minute stint in the first half and then never seeing the floor again. I would certainly at this point prefer to see him down in the G League. I think it's certainly it's a very reasonable question to ask, a reasonable thing to talk about. And I'm not even, none of us are sitting here blaming Nick. He hasn't been playing good enough to be in the rotation right now. You're trying to win games, and he has been bad for the better part of 2 months. So do what you can to get him back on track. I think that has to be a conversation about going down in the G League. And if he keeps playing this few minutes, I would be surprised if that's not at least thought about.
All right, we got to squeeze in our final break. When we come back, we'll get some news and notes. Roll call, of course. It's a non-game day for the Sixers. We're getting ready for another big matchup with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Final one on the other side. We'll get into some news and notes right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, everybody comes into the new year with big resolutions, especially with cooking and eating. But if you don't have the time to cook and you want to eat healthy, Factor Meals makes it easy with fully prepped meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. So you can eat well without the shopping, without the cooking. Here's one of the best parts too. The meals are ready in 2 minutes. That's crazy. I know it sounds impossible, but Factor makes it possible. You also get quality functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners. Also, a lot of variety, 100 rotating weekly meals, high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, and more. No prep, no stress, always fresh, never frozen. That's Factor. Head to factormeals.com/PHLY50 off. Use the code PHLY50 off to get 50% off of your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor.
Guys, do you really want Tyrese Maxey trying to post up? Probably not. You want to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. The same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, the tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear the team down. Togo can help any business looking to reduce operating costs, become more efficient, or unlock more time for their best people. From customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, data entry, and even complex multi-step operational processes, Togo takes it off your plate at a fraction of the cost. Every engagement starts with free process mapping and engineering. No cost, no commitment. They don't bill you a dime until the real work begins. With programs starting as low as $1,000 a month, you're not going to break the bank. Each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, you call the plays, they execute. Visit harnesstogo.com, scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning.
Final segment here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree, all of you, we appreciate it as always. Want to make sure you know the game time tomorrow is 7 o'clock, so 6:30 pregame with Bree, Rich, myself will be here. We'll get some maybe some videos from Kyle or Derek as well, and we'll be with you tomorrow, 6:30 pregame. Important game for the Sixers, and then a weekend off. We don't get weekends off during the regular season all that often.
Well, it won't be a weekend off for Derek and I because we will definitely have to go to at least one practice, if not two, this weekend. So thank you, Sixers, for that. At least we get the nights off.
You get the nights off.
I'll take the nights off.
You get the nights off. Yes, absolutely. For the Philadelphia 76ers. So we'll see how all of that plays out with this basketball team. All right, let's start the news and notes because I do think we're going to talk a little bit about this first one, basketball-related news and notes. It was reported, saw it in a lot of different places, Anthony Slater, Sam Amick, that Jonathan Kuminga, he has requested a trade with the Warriors, all right? Requested. So
demanded.
Demanded. Sorry. Demanded.
Put some force behind that.
I apologize, just like he did by demanding to be moved out of there. If you all remember the conversation from the offseason where he wanted out, he wasn't getting the extension that he wanted. He wanted to go elsewhere, get away from the whole Warriors ecosystem. He has had enough. Wanted to go elsewhere. Didn't matter where. Just send me somewhere else.
If only there was something you could have done about this in free agency, like sign an offer sheet somewhere.
All right.
Remember when how many Ferk trade requests were there? 3 or
At
2?
least 2.
At least 2.
I know there were 2.
They were very polite, though. They were very polite.
He didn't demand, did
No.
he? Okay.
No, those were requests. This is a demand.
Yeah, good luck, buddy. Because look, here's the thing.
The Kings will trade for him. Like this has Sacramento written all over it.
But like I certainly don't want to be in a business of being the team lined up to give him his next contract. I have no interest in that contract.
I just don't understand anything about how all parties have handled this over the last year or two, where it's very clear Steve Kerr doesn't want to play him and like doesn't believe in him.
Doesn't trust him.
And I think Steve Kerr is mostly justified in it. Like Jonathan Kuminga has scoring talent for sure, and he's got the tools to be a very good defender if he wanted to be. But it's always the story with him has always been it's in flashes, it's in spurts. And so the start of the year, he was starting, he's playing well. Mm-hmm. Team was playing pretty well. And then he tails off. He comes out of the starting lineup, and it's just a slide down to the point where he just was not an effective player. They have a lot of guys they're trying to get on the floor. He falls out of the rotation. He feels he should, I know he feels more than he should be in a rotation. And I think that's certainly justified. He's not someone who should be getting DNPs every night at his age and with his relative skill set. But you had to kind of know this was a possibility based on how last year played out. He only played 47 games last year, and I think there were probably some intermittent injuries in there. But at the end of the year, he was out of the rotation until Steve Kerr got desperate enough to play him in the playoffs after he basically abandoned him entirely. And then you come back in the offseason and not being able to get whatever offer sheet you want elsewhere, you say, all right, well, I'm coming back, and we're going to try to navigate this situation where the coach doesn't love playing you. You don't really fit the style, and you've hit your head against this wall before. I don't know what anybody was expecting in this situation other than this exact thing. So that doesn't mean anyone's the bad guy, whether it's the Warriors or Kuminga, but you would think at some point someone would have spoke up in like July and said, are we sure all of us want to go through this again? Because nobody's having a good time with it. I just don't get it.
18 games played, 12 points a game, 6 rebounds. That's what he's done. He started 13 of them, a lot of them early, like Kyle talked about. He's shooting 32% from three. He's only taking 3 a game, shooting those 32% from beyond. So, like Kyle said, we all saw this coming. Unless they were going to be an undefeated team or a one-win, a single-digit loss team through this first 41 games, and he's playing out of his mind, nothing was going to change. And then you start to hear things about, with the season that Michael Porter Jr. is having right now, you start to hear the Warriors all buzzed in there with them. Could there be some sort of 3-team trade where Kuminga goes elsewhere? They get Michael Porter Jr. in return in Golden State. So, but I'm with you, man. I don't want to pay him. I don't want to pay him any money. I don't want to be strapped to Jonathan Kuminga for a long-term deal. And if he's unhappy again in the role that he goes to Sacramento, like you said, it has Sacramento written all over it. He's not turning that around, though. So is he going to go in there and he's going to play 32 minutes and get his numbers, but they're still losing? What's the end game?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it the contract? Of course you want the contract, but what's the end game? Do you want to win too? Do you want to make all-star teams? Because you're going to lose a lot in Sacramento. At least you're getting some wins here and there with Golden State with some minutes. But, yeah.
I think he probably would be happy to just go somewhere where he has opportunity. And
he seems like he's on that Jeremy Grant track.
But I also will say at this point, it's one thing to deride someone who's like, I want to be the guy when you're a consistent minute-getting player. Like you're one of the top 8 and you play every night. You're getting 20-plus minutes a game. Kuminga doesn't even know if he's going to be in the lineup night. And in fact, most of the time, he's not in the lineup recently. And I will say, I know there was, I think part of the reporting from Slater was there was a game sometime recently where the Warriors rested a lot of their top guys and Kuminga was going to be expected to play. And apparently, and he very late reported, I think it was either back spasms or some kind of issue that he wouldn't play. And I think there were some people that turned a side eye to that and were like, all right, listen, buddy, this was an opportunity for you and you're looking down on it. So again, I say all that to not to demonize Kuminga and not to, take the side of Steve Kerr. It's mostly just, it feels like a toxic situation that everyone knew would be toxic going in and they all signed up for it. And so the trade demand and the Warriors being like, well, we're not going to trade him unless we get a great offer. Can everyone just be a little more reasonable here? Like, send the guy somewhere he can play, get whatever you can get back from him, and then everyone just wash your hands and move on. It's clearly not working for anyone. It's a toxic relationship, and it needs to end.
All right. That's Jonathan Kuminga. We'll see what happens. Trade deadline, February 5th. So we're getting closer to that one. What is that, about 2.5 weeks away?
Yeah, it's sneaking up real quick.
Real quick. Yeah, Thursday is normally the day. Yeah. Yep. So
Thursday, 3 p.m.
Yep. So we'll see.
And then we have a 10 p.m. game that night. So we'll all
be... Is that a road game? Devon, you have the schedule memorized.
We'll all be very happy during that post game.
Yeah.
A long day of... Because I do think, for anyone who's watching today, I think we will probably have a 2-hour deadline special, day of, leading into the deadline, and then after the deadline passes. So that'll be fun for all of you. And then we have a post-game show that night. So it's going to be a jam-packed day on February 5th.
3 weeks away. 3 weeks away. So see how it goes with Jonathan Kuminga, if he's on the move or not. We will find out. By the way, people who didn't know, there's a basketball game going on right now, the Berlin games. 1 o'clock game. Was it 1 or 2 o'clock game? I think
Is Ja going to walk off the floor and fight one of his teammates mid-game? Because that's about the only intrigue there for me.
He was not playing in this. He's not playing in this game.
Well,
so he
more time to fight people.
Exactly. Him and Vince Williams sitting next to the bench, just elbowing each other the entire time. All right, let's get to the rest of the news and notes. Couple of off, just social stuff. Nothing basketball related here. Let's start with the not the big one, Bree. Let's go to the first one with the new one. Would you guys? I know you guys like fries because I know you guys. I've been around you guys.
Yeah.
Do you like this fry setup that they have here?
I am vehemently anti-ketchup, so no.
Right.
I thought that was established. My first best friend I made was because we both hated ketchup in kindergarten, and I have stuck to that ever since.
Yes. But would you like this little ketchup setup that they have on the back of the back?
Seems like it's gonna get messy.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that.
Yeah, give me a cup.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm
100%.
good.
Yeah, Bree, you out on that?
I think make it like reusable and you could put whatever in it. I think that's a good idea.
Eco-friendly Brie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm not out. I'm just
Or like ranch or something, like whatever.
Yeah, I'm out.
So wait, what do you dip your fries in?
If they're good fries, you don't need to dip them.
No, I mean I don't. I certainly don't.
You don't have to.
I don't like smother my fries with ketchup, but I'll dip them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the dry fry too. I'm fine either way.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll do like a little, if I'm at home or something, maybe like a little sriracha, maybe like I'll do like vinegar if I'm at a pub and they do like the thicker fries sometimes when you're having like a nice lager and some vinegar on your fries, like you're really English. But most of the time I'm just like, if I go to McDonald's, for example, or like a fast food
they put so much salt on there, you don't even need.
It's like, what am I going to sit in my car and have ketchup in the cup holder or something? Like psycho.
It depends. Like a really good fry, I'm fine eating it dry. But like if it's a mediocre fry,
and if they're mediocre fries, I don't want to eat them in the first place.
I'll eat a mediocre.
That's like your approach with soda, where you're more like a diet or I don't want to waste calories on
I get my calories
fries,
elsewhere. Don't worry.
I get them elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll eat a second wrap or burger or nuggets or whatever.
Final one. Taco Bell King here.
Taco Bell announces a $3 or less value menu.
You in?
How the mighty have fallen that we used to be the dollar menu at a lot of these places. But I mean, I'll have to see what's on the $3 value menu at Taco Bell. But of course, if you're getting cheap eats at Taco Bell, I'm in. They used to have, I don't know if they still do, it's like a happy hour midday where you get cheaper, the like slushy drinks. I forget what they're called. And there are certain things on the menu that were cheap. So yeah, $3 or less. The Lux value menu. I'll take it. I will take it.
Derek rubbing his hands. So you're in, huh?
I might have to stop by some Taco Bell, see what they got on the $3 menu. Yeah, I'm not above that.
I mean, we all were loving at least Eric and I were loving the Baja Midnight, which I haven't been to Taco Bell in a bit since I tried that. But when I had it, confirmed my suspicions. It tastes like purple.
So honestly, the only time I ever go to Taco Bell is when we talk about Taco Bell. Because it's not like on my drive home. So like I don't see it on a daily basis. But like we'll once every 3 months we'll have a conversation like this and be like, all right, I'm going to Taco Bell tonight.
It's time. See,
so
when you think of it, it's great.
Here's the capped $3 menu: spicy potato soft taco, beefy potato loaded griller, cheesy bean and rice burrito, and 3 cheese chicken flatbread melt.
So part of what that's telling me is they have a surplus of starch and potato, and they got to move it now. They're sitting on like a Scrooge McDuck vault of potatoes somewhere and said, quick, think of a promo. We've got too much potato.
Oh, man. Quick overtime as we get ready for some roll call. Thanks on the television side. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 for pregame. Sixers, Cavs, part 2 of their mini-series right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show. Bree, you in on the Taco Bell $3?
I'm always in on Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's my producer.
I will say none of those items that you listed are like my go-tos. So it's
Yeah,
really
but-
like I'll get them because they're cheap.
But if they're cheap,
Yeah.
they might become part of the go-to. Because I'm getting a few things if I'm going to Taco Bell. That's a combo meal
Yes.
without it being a real combo. It's just I'm making my own combo.
It's always funny when you go and they give you the soggy plastic bag because of what? Yeah, because it's Taco Bell.
Don't you dare besmirch the good people at Taco Bell, Devon. I will get up out of this chair and watch my microphone fall, and then I'll fight you.
I just don't know when like chalupas became like a $7 item. Like back in the day, they
Dude,
used to be like $2-3.
Inflation is crazy. Some of the we won't get into this on the show.
No, Kyle.
Some of the prices we're paying right now.
Oh, man. All right, let's get ready to say goodbye, everybody.
Jalen Rose voice, don't get fired.
Time for the world famous It's the Roll Call on a Thursday. Who do we have?
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on a, what day is it?
Thursday.
Thursday afternoon after a just despicable, disgusting, unwatchable loss last night. Hopefully tomorrow night, Friday night against the Cavs, looks a little bit better. Thank you to SB Cole. Thank you to the Court Jester. I think that's Jesse Bond, but I don't actually remember. Thank you to Jesse.
What up, Bond?
Thank you to Music Lover, Brian Knight, Jess, my girl Nona, Jay the Jungle,
Hey,
my
ladies.
guy, Vince Pellegrini,
Vinny.
veteran of the Psychic Wars,
Should have told us that game was happening, veteran, last night.
Hedfa.
Saved us some time.
Yeah.
Hedfa, apparently a big fan of the cheesy bean and rice burrito at Taco Bell.
Also, I think she said mayo with the fries.
Yeah, I'm not that.
I'm not a mayo guy in general, but I can see the vision for that at least.
No thank you.
Eat in the Remix, Jazz Graham, D Flyers, Eugene Ross, Martian Lynch,
Martian.
Mom's grandchildren. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We love having our friends with us each and every day, no matter what nonsense we're talking about, including fast food, Jonathan Kuminga. They're basically the same level of nonsense, I would say. On the way out, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icons. You get notifications each and every time we go live. That thumbs up button makes me feel better. It helps these guys sleep at night. It also is a thank you to super producer Bree.
Thank you,
putting
Bree.
up the videos, making the graphics pop up on the show, making the show run so that you guys can have a good time, talk with us, have fun every day. So say thank you to Bree with a quick thumbs up on this video. And we'll see you tomorrow for Sixers Cavs pregame. Hopefully a little bit better of a Sixers performance in that one. Pregame,
Let's hope
postgame, from the studio, from the arena. We got you covered everywhere. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.